Are you ready?
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
I was right.
Let's go!
I'm the best.
And here are your hosts, Jessica Town and Rob Lange.
You're a jackass.
Embrace the madness.
Welcome to the new norm, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new norm. Welcome in to one of the happiest episodes of the madness you will ever see. As always, with me is the wonderful Jessica Town. But for the anger that needs to be spewed today, there was nobody better. Me and Jess started talking on Monday. I said, Jess, we need someone to help us really get across this point of anger. And immediately I was like, I got to get my man, the Philly pod, Victor, on the show. Vic, how are you, my man?
Good thing you didn't catch me on Monday, because this would have been a very much more animated podcast. But I'm a little more simmered down now. But it's not looking too hot for the birds and Philly sports in general. So
Yeah, it is not looking too good. I actually tweeted out to somebody yesterday. I said, we are in Philadelphia sports hell right now. Nothing seems to be going right. Everything bit of news that comes out sports-wise just seems to be negative, like at all times in this town. But we are frustrated. But let me get all the stuff out of the way. The Madness, brought to you by thepaintedlines.com. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Make sure you're hearing us where you can find all podcasts. Tonight is going to be fun. All right. I came on a show Tuesday and dropped more curse words on a podcast than I have maybe ever combined. I couldn't do the post-game podcast I was supposed to because on top of chasing around my son, I just kept drinking because I thought maybe that would make the pain go away.
R.I.P.
And trying to put together sentences was not going to happen. So, Jess, you are the eternal optimist.
I am.
I don't see much optimism coming from you these days.
I am just like, I think I told you this last week. I'm caught in this like never-ending cycle of like Carson Wentz is playing like garbage, but Doug's game plans are also garbage, and Jim Schwartz's game plans are garbage, but the team that has been put together by Howie Roseman is garbage. Like I don't know where to, like, I'm in this just circle. I'm in this loop and I don't know where to stop, and I want it to end. I want it to end so badly because I don't know what I need. Serious help, professional help.
Victor, that's what you're here for, man. Give us some professional help.
the insane asylum is not too far from where I live, but I think Jess is right. Like the poor front office management combined with poor roster construction is redundant in this town. So we thought that we would like kind of leave the Sixers' misery and be like, well, at least the birds are coming up, and as long as Doug and Carson Wentz are here, we will always contend. And albeit it's only 2 weeks, limited sample size, but it's not looking too hot right now. Carson Wentz is really, really struggling. These people with it's my main worry heading into this season was like everybody was like, we have speed and all of this, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, well, it's like Deshaun Jackson and a bunch of rookies running around. This is why I was more upset about Marcus Goodwin opting out than most others. Everybody was telling me like, oh, like he wouldn't have made we wouldn't have made the roster. He wasn't going to do that much anyway. But I felt like we still needed some type of veteran presence in that room. So now when you look at Deshaun and now it's Hightower and Greg Ward and Jalen Reagor before he got hurt, and now it's just, and who knows how much is Deshaun really mentoring these guys? I feel like there is some type of lack of leadership. And, Carson is always going to be that leader, but how much leadership is he really, not saying he's not, but how much leadership is he really displaying amongst these struggles? We need somebody to kind of step up and lead these young guys, and it's not looking good for the time being.
Real quick, I don't know if anybody knew this, but I got to put this up. This is
Time out.
I got to just do this real quick because I don't want to cover anybody's face. Is this real?
No, not is having a child, has a child.
He has a child.
Like the kid exists.
Like it makes so much sense now. Everything makes sense now.
Yo.
Wait a minute. This world.
Crap.
I can't.
Time out. Hold all of the phones. Hold all of the phones. Hold them all. Okay. Pause. Sheesh. All right. Remember when there was like a bunch of like chatter that maybe him and his girlfriend broke up and that's why he was having like all those issues. No, turns out he was just expecting a child.
Oh my goodness.
We
This
are
is
so
something.
blessed
Yeah.
and fortunate to
Wait,
welcome our little boy.
wasn't his brother named Arthur? Is he named after his brother that was killed in the car accident?
That I
It would
don't
make
know.
sense. It would make sense.
I think so. Which that's super sweet. Joel Embiid, timeout. Joel Embiid is a parent.
What is happening? Brian's
Oh,
right.
man.
We
Wait,
can't even get to the Eagles and yell.
I thought this was going to be a relatively smooth show, you know.
Arthur
Lord
Elijah
have-
Paula Embiid. He said first of 11 more with a question mark.
Philip
Trying
Rivers
to
style.
convince you, but I'm not winning so far. Listen, damn it.
Trying to
And
build a soccer
Joe-
team, but
Joe, I
for
got
real.
3. Joe, I got 3. Don't do more, man. It just gets harder. It just gets harder. I guess congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. That's so cool. And I don't want to hear anybody else question his maturity until the end of time because that man's a parent now.
Well, listen,
Oh.
well, I'm a
His
parent.
brother's name was Arthur. Just confirmed.
There you
So-
go.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
I thought that sounded familiar. That's really
Yes, I'm
sweet.
a parent of 3, and you question my maturity all the time. I don't want to hear
Yes, but I didn't know you before you were a parent.
it. This is fair.
If that makes any difference.
It
Like
wasn't better.
I don't know where you grew because I know you did grow
No.
in some capacity, but I didn't know you before to really compare. Wow. All right. Chris really just threw us for a loop
All right,
here.
Chris, that's all right, man. Listen, you know what?
Holy Lord.
This is why live chat is not a good idea on these things. Like,
We've been looking for breaking news. I just never expected to be Joel Embiid having a child.
Yeah, wow.
So, all right.
Anyway,
Now let's get
go
back.
Birds!
And, you know, Victor, you were talking about a veteran presence, and I said, you know, it's sad that I had a tinge of like happiness to see a veteran wide receiver back at practice today because it was a veteran and it wasn't just a guy who's played 15 or 20 snaps in the pros. And that's Alshon Jeffrey was back at practice. I know we all were down on him, but at this point, I mean, I guess we're going to be reaching for things, aren't we?
You're alone on that one.
No, nobody's reaching with me.
I think with Alshon Jeffrey, when you come off injuries like that and you're 30 and you're already declining, I mean, we can hope for the best, I guess, but him in that form is better than whatever I think Whiteside is doing out there. So I guess we can hope for that.
I agree. I really just a lot of me questions Alshon's mental state, and you just kind of saw like. I think we've seen both sides of Alshon from that, right? Like you talk about him the Super Bowl year. He had a torn, was it a rotator cuff was torn? And he tore it in training camp and no one knew and he gutted that out. And every time I talk about that, I think about that touchdown catch in the Super Bowl, right? Like, you know, you can deal with that to a certain extent. Like my mom has a torn rotator cuff and she hasn't gotten it fixed and it's been a couple of years. You can deal with it. But it can be painful, especially when you're doing something like that and getting hit and landing on it, right? So there's a whole season where he guts it out for not only 16 games, but then the extra as well, and they go win a Super Bowl. Then last year, before he even had the Liz Frank injury, he still like rolled his ankle and had like, or no, it was the calf. It was the calf tightness that was bothering him. He had a calf and then an ankle, and you just saw, I mean, he hung his head and he had really, really, I mean, he had a really poor body language the whole time. And he kind of would like, you know, he was dropping balls and he would like kick the grass and like, you know, mosey off the field. Like we've seen both sides of the mental state from Alshon. So I don't really know which one we would get now. And I don't know how much I want to, like how much stock I want to put into that.
Slim to none. That's what I'm doing.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing.
It's quite interesting, but as our man Dives is doing, as you could tell here, he's already prepping for the draft as he's dropping some draft talk.
That's assuming they would make an accurate draft choice.
Yeah, which we have been proven many a time. Which let's listen. We could talk about just the Rams game, but I think all of us have probably done that ad nauseum. There are bigger issues than just this Rams game. This was just kind of the latest step in everything. And Jess, you've been taking heat for this, but I think we all are on the same page here. What Howie Roseman, the 180 from Howie season, big GM of the year, to what is happening where and Why My Name is Howie Banner, where he now is just Mr. Arrogant, I'm smarter than you are, is a major, major problem, and probably the biggest problem when it comes to this franchise. I mean, I don't know where you guys stand on that, but Howie Roseman's inability to, bring a linebacker in that can actually play. That the one linebacker who I think maybe has the talents is the one seeing the less of the field, but I guess that's on Schwartz. The receivers to me, and, Victor, you bring up a good point. I guess you were counting on Goodwin to be here, and when he wasn't, now it looks even worse, right? But I just feel like I don't know what the plan is on building this roster, not to mention the Jalen Hurts second-round pick.
I mean, to me, like, they were one Jalen Hurts getting injured away from – not Jalen Hurts, Jalen Reagor getting injured away from having the exact same roster as Week 17.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean – you add in a healthy Deshaun Jackson, and with Reagor getting hurt, this is the same offense that played in December, and the same inadequate offense, and the same this was rock bottom. Please get us some more weapons. Like in a year that was like, yes, we're going to get weapons, and then they're like, ooh, speed, and it's like, yeah, that's great, but can you catch a football? Probably not. Like,
I don't know.
And Jalen Hurts, he's here too.
Yeah, Victor, what do you do?
Well, we can stem all the way as far back as the 2017 draft class. Like 2 people remain from that class, and it's Derek Barnett, who knows where he is, and Nathan Gary. We all found out where he was, and it was staring at Tyler Higbee. So those 2 guys,
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, still trying to figure out what happened on that. But it's a matter of when you look at the draft classes, it's already depressing when you think about it. And I feel foolish for even remotely talking myself into Jalen Hurts in some way, shape, or form. I'm thinking this man was a decoy. Like our second round resource is spent on being a decoy on Sunday, and we have other I don't want to get into it. Like it is a poor use of resources, and it's very, very all the holes on this team. And you're selling us on it's a QB factory when you just paid your franchise quarterback and he's making $32 million a year. Why should we even remotely believe that a QB factory is that sounds like a good idea. I tried to sell myself on, well, if maybe Hurts had played in that Seattle game, maybe we would have been all right. McCown was on a bum leg or whatever, but it all doesn't matter when you could have had guys like with Zach Bond in the middle of that defense. If we ever thought about in life tackling a linebacker, could have had Christian Fulton on the other side. The secondary hasn't been too bad, but you could have had him on the other side of Darius Slay. Denzel Mims is out currently, but another receiver that would have been nice to have. Hindsight is 2020, but it's really looking bad for Howie, and it's just looking like. When I watch, it's getting to the point now where when I'm watching this team, I'm feeling the same depression I felt when I was watching the Sixers. The offense is stagnant. The front office is incompetent. I don't want to blame the pandemic, but this whole just take sports away again. Like I was happier then. Surprisingly, I was happier.
There was less stressing me out.
Yeah,
I legitimately said to somebody, I would rather go back to binge watching Netflix than watching the crowd.
Yeah, man. Cobra Kai. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, Cobra Kai. That's right.
It's Cobra Kai time, man. Could have had Jeremy Chin. He's right. DC.
J.K. Dobbins, all guys that were there. And then I even look, maybe they wouldn't be making as much of a difference, but you heard Dave Phipp talk about how much he loves the young linebackers, Logan Wilson and Akeem Davis-Gaither, who are both guys they could have had, but instead obviously Hurts. But then you pick a Davion Taylor who, it looks like maybe somewhere, but he is so raw, and you need someone now. They drafted for the future as though they were built to win now. And I don't know where that mindset comes from, coming off of you lose in the first round. I understand that Carson Wentz got hurt, but it's not like your offense was lighting it up all year. You had a very up and down year last year, not one that I would come into this offseason and say, we're okay. We could draft some guys for the future. It boggles my mind. And it is so reminiscent of the Joe Banner years, where it was like they would go into a draft and you're looking at this guy or that guy, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? Like almost very similar when they took Kevin Cobb in the second round, right? No one expected that. And everyone's like, what are you doing now? The only difference is McNabb, I guess, was a little older then, but still, it was the top of the second
quarterback factory.
Yeah, they didn't just pay McNabb then. That was a little this was shocking.
It makes
just
no sense.
To me, this was the year that Carson could so you have a decent rookie year, right? Huge amount to improve on. He comes out in his sophomore season and is the leader for MVP until he blows out his ACL, right? And obviously Nick Foles catches lightning in a bottle because the man lost a starting quarterback job to Mitchell Trubisky, also lost a starting job to Gardner Minshew. Like, let's call that what it is. I don't know what that is, to be clear. Like, well, I don't know what exactly to call it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he caught lightning in a bottle that year. So obviously Carson wasn't going to be ready to start the season. You keep Nick Foles around, right? Carson comes in, their season is a mess. And Nick Foles somehow comes in and saves it once again. But the Eagles do the right thing and move on from Nick Foles. Let Nick Foles go. Don't try to tag and trade him. Don't do anything. They let him go. Carson plays a 16-game season again for the first time since his rookie year. He brings them back from the dead after they lose everyone, and he's playing with the rock bottomest of rock bottom talent. He brings them back, gets them to beat the Dallas Cowboys, who had their full arsenal of weapons in one of the best running backs in the league, a couple of the best wide receivers in the league, beat them and go to the playoffs, and he gets cheap shotted out of that. So what do? You continue to build around him because this could have been his year to finally get that Nick Foles monkey off his back and just go out with some actual good talent that you go get him and just be him and do him. What do you do instead? You go and you draft Jalen Hurts and you just actively work against the guy that you paid $100 million to. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason that in a year where wide receiver was your biggest issue, that a 33-year-old Deshaun Jackson should be your number one receiver. I love Deshaun. Other than Brian Dawkins, Deshaun is my favorite Eagle of all time. I love Deshaun. But there's no reason that he should be the number one receiver, and he's also being load managed. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Help.
And listen, we talk about Nick Foles. I guess how he realizes the year they won the Super Bowl, their backup cornerback was a veteran that they signed, right? It wasn't a rookie that they were able to just bring in and steal the league by storm. So this idea that, we have to have a strong backup. Well, when was the last time a rookie was a strong backup? It just
like a project rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, I think he could be a quarterback in this league, but not right now. He's not a Joe Burrow who you're like, he's coming out of school and he can be a starting quarterback. Like, I think Jalen Hurts could be a good quarterback in the league, but for a team that's, I would like to say not like the Eagles, but like a team like a Miami Dolphins or that kind of team that's like in dire need of a quarterback to go through a rebuild. He's not a win now quarterback.
And, giving up that, listen, when it came to the second round pick, I know everybody's like, all right, they need to draft more guys. But if you were going to use that on a backup player who's barely going to see the field, and when he does, he's a decoy. Why didn't, like Victor, you said this week, why didn't you give it up in a trade for DeAndre Hopkins? Why didn't you give it up to get ahead of Atlanta and draft CeeDee Lamb? For two reasons. A, because he's fantastic, and B, so the Dallas freaking Cowboys didn't have another weapon to their offense, who absolutely was all over the field, by the way, on Sunday during their improbable comeback, also known as the letdown number 2 for the Atlanta.
Yeah, it wasn't a comeback. It was a collapse.
What the Atlanta Falcons do best.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it's at the point where you go, all right, Howie's not going anywhere, right? And there's obviously, on top of all this, there's a power struggle with this team. And I think it's a 3-person struggle. And I think it's Howie, I think it's Doug, and I think it's Carson. I think there is some turmoil. And the common denominator here is Doug. I think there's turmoil between Howie and Doug. And I think there's something between Doug and Carson based off of him for the first time ever, basically on Monday, throwing Carson under the bus and then trying to walk it back and act like he was his biggest defender.
That's not the first time he's done that.
Yeah, it ain't the first time. It won't be the last time.
He throws Carson under the bus all the time.
Well, and
all the time. He's so fast to blame Carson and will never – if there's like a 50-50 – for example, like say last year he threw that ball to Hightower, right, where Hightower should have made a move on that ball a little bit. And – he should have come back to it and should have put up a stronger fight to win that ball, or at least make it an incompletion and not let it be an interception in the Washington game, right? Say that was last year, it was Alshon, whatever. Alshon Jeffrey, of all people on that roster, should know he had to move a little bit and do a little bit more for his quarterback there. Could Carson have made a better throw? Sure. But could he have done more? Yes. Doug always goes, Carson needs to make a better throw there. He never goes 50-50 and puts any blame on anybody else other than Carson. That's not new. It's just gotten worse.
See, like that to me is a former quarterback in the league showing you how the quarterback's always got to be the guy taking the brunt. But what I mean here was he was asked about regression, and his response was, that's a great question. Hey, jackass, you tell everybody you're a quarterback factory. You tell everybody you can handle quarterbacks.
He didn't say that.
Hey, guess what? He was buying into it, wasn't he?
No, that's the issue. They all said something different. When asked about the Jalen Hurts pick, Doug, Howie, and Andy all said different things. They all had different answers. Howie's was quarterback factory. I forget what Doug's was, but they all had different answers. But I want to talk about that. Vic, you posted something on Twitter the other day, and it was talking about Carson's mechanics. And it was you highlighted him when he was off to the left by himself, throwing from a full split.
Literally, this man's ankles were direct 180 degrees. This man was like,
what do you put that regression on? Like, what do you put that ridiculousness on?
So my thing is that if you're this quote unquote quarterback factory, and we can all look at Frank Reich not being here and DiFilippo not being here, but you have to think that there's somebody in that whole building that can teach Carson how to throw a proper football. Like, I think that it's either that or I don't want to believe that Carson is that hard-headed and like just going rogue and doing his own thing. I feel like he's smart enough to know that he doesn't know everything and he has to be coached, unless he's just getting frustrated and he's like, I'm going to do it my way. But he doesn't come off as that player. There's at least reasons to believe that he's going to get better. Like, and then just to speak on Hurts for a second, I would like to believe that the reason the Eagles did this is because they just didn't want to get caught with their pants down again, and they wanted, God forbid, Carson goes down again, they didn't have to like chuck out the playbook and have to adjust, and like Jalen Hurts could kind of do some of the same things. That's the only real excuse I kind of have for why even this happened. But I would like to think that that's their mindset. They were at least thinking of the future. God forbid Carson, maybe the Seattle game opened some eyes or whatever. But Carson Wentz like at least can get himself out of these slumps. Like we think all the way back to 2018 when that ugly Saints game and they got blasted out like 48-7 and Carson threw 3 picks and he had like a QBR of I think it was 8.8 in that game. And everybody's screaming, he's over, he's cooked, he's all this. And he threw 15 touchdowns and 3 picks over the next 7 games before he, threw out his back or whatever. And then last year, we don't have to keep revisiting the 1,200 yards and the 7 touchdowns and 0 picks he threw at the end of last season to nobody, to us 3 at receiver. So there's reasons to believe that he will get better. This is the first time he's thrown multiple interception games back to back in his career. He's over the last 3 seasons, 81 touchdowns, 21 picks. Like he is the second best quarterback to interception ratio to Aaron Rodgers, I think, in history. So I'm not writing him off by any means. These mechanics are concerning. I don't expect Carson to be a finished product by year 5, but these are things that shouldn't be, occurring anymore. I do believe they can get better. But he has to be willing to. I don't know who to really pin the blame on here. I don't know if it's Doug. I don't know if it's them clashing or it's the 5 million offensive coordinators they have in there. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if Scangarello and who else is in there. I forget the names.
Artie Morningweg.
Yeah, he should be OC to be honest. But it's just a whole just slew of things that the Eagles need to figure out. And it starts with Carson Wentz. I do believe this is the week they get it better, because if they lose to this rookie quarterback, I just might deactivate Twitter altogether. So they need to figure this out. I do believe he can get better. Nobody should be writing off Carson Wentz by any means. I understand people are frustrated and Jalen's a winner, and people on Twitter all week have been saying Jalen makes things happen and all this. I didn't know when he had an NFL snap with the ball in his hands, but make me aware when that happened that he made something happen. But I think that Carson Wentz is still the future of this team. I don't think the Eagles have a quarterback problem by any means. I just think that he has to rectify his issues sooner rather than later.
Well, and one of our comments. First of all, I want to say what's up to James here, who's joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. But one of our big fans, the Joe Show, Philly Sports Talk, with the Eagles drafting Hurts, it puts so much pressure on Wentz to perform. Jess, you've said this a ton. No team drafts a quarterback if they think the quarterback can be good. That's my conspiracy. My conspiracy is they want to tell you every reason why they did it. My conspiracy is someone within this organization is losing faith that Carson wants to get it done. And instead of doing what you should to try and better him, they go out and draft Jalen Hurts, which puts – listen, I know they're professional athletes, but they're also human beings. And to me, you put unnecessary pressure on a situation you didn't need to do. I agree with Victor, though. I think that Carson could get himself out of this. He's shown it to us before. Everyone talks about the Carson Wentz haters when you bring up the last 4 games last year, say, oh, well, who did they play? Okay. But
division opponents. That's what I'll say. Division opponents.
A fully healthy Dallas Cowboys team that was leading the division, jackasses.
AC joint, though. Don't forget his AC joint. Don't forget.
Oh, my God. That made me so mad.
When you do that, you discount the fact that he was playing with a bunch of no-name guys, so it didn't matter. He was playing with guys who weren't even in the NFL 4 weeks before that. You know, and
I hate the people that want to add in, oh, but Goddard and Ertz and Sanders were still there. Stop it. Miles Sanders was a rookie. Zach Ertz had internal bleeding, by the way. And Dallas Goddard had the dropsies last year. What was that going to give you? I love Dallas Goddard, but let's be honest, he dropped some big balls last year.
Oh, they all dropped big
Lions
balls.
game. Remember that?
But, you know, listen, Carson's got to be better. We all admit that Carson's got to be better. But this idea that he is the only problem, they're missing the bigger issue. First of all, look at that bench on Sunday when they were on the bench. You see any energy? You see any fire from anybody over there? Right? Doug's supposed to be the leader of men. Doug's supposed to be the guy to get that everybody wants to play for. That didn't look like a team that wanted to play for anybody on that sideline. And that's worrisome to me. Like, there was no juice. And I understand the fans aren't there, but damn it, everybody's got to play with that. So you can't use that as an excuse. And for Doug on Monday to talk about the shortened off season, stop. It's been short for everybody.
That was bad.
They've all.
I was like, oh, okay.
Everybody's dealing with that right now. There's still offenses out there that are lighting scoreboards up. The Las Vegas Raiders just beat the New Orleans Saints. I mean, like, things are still happening positively. And you were supposed to have the upper hand of having your head coach and your defensive coordinator still here and not making a lot of change. Guess what? I watched 3 other teams in the division play with more heart than you this week. And that upsets me more than anything, is the amount of heart that I saw.
Let's talk about that defense.
Yeah, Carson catching a lot of slander for a defense that let up 39 points.
That's the thing about our fan base. Oh, that's why I like Jim Schwartz. He took responsibility. I say he's been doing this crap for 3 years.
He was reading the script of the last 3 seasons. Is what he was doing.
Nothing has changed.
No one else did. Everyone deviated from the script.
Yeah. Jim Schwartz is the only one that stuck to the routine.
Yes. See, he takes the responsibility. No, I don't care if he doesn't change it. He's so arrogant. It's the same game plan. When other NFL teams are telling guys like Adam Kaplan that their defense is the easiest thing to scout because it never changes, that's a problem.
Literally the easiest way to beat the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday is to have a complex defensive game plan, because then Joe Burrow will be forced into making rookie mistakes.
Just add an extra rusher. That's all you have to do. Like, and Jim Schwartz refuses to do it. Like, no linebackers even rush anyway. So I don't know who we would even rush
blitz
with.
Every now and then, my dude. Just a few times. Rattle Joe Burrow a little bit and run the football on their garbage ass defensive line.
It's all about the front four.
And
that never gets a sack ever.
A day. When do we start? I usually am the one. I saw your tweet last week, Vic, and I'm usually the one that's like,
it's about time. I've been waiting for this.
Fletcher Cox.
Sit up.
Fletcher Cox.
I caught flack for this. All
right, let's go. No, I'm with you on this one a little bit, because usually people that understand football and watch football and you see it happen, now it's also been injuries these last couple years. So you had a guy like a Tim Jernigan, a Malik Jackson, who's supposed to be taking some of the heat off Fletcher to be able to let Fletch go free a little bit, right? Well, they've been hurt, so Fletch has been double, triple teamed and still making a little bit of an impact, but the numbers have not been there. Now they have a healthy defensive front. You've got 3 guys in there, especially on the interior, 4 if you want to put Hassan Ridgeway in that category as well. Your edge guys are not getting anything done for you. And at this point, I mean, you don't hear at some point you want to hear his name, right? You want to hear the name. You want to see it.
$100 million. Shit, I hope I hear your name at some point. Like, damn.
Like, especially because like he's like a soft-spoken guy. He's just like he's a very likable dude. But at some point, I'm kind of with you. Like, when do we start to get like as pissed off at him as we get at Carson Wentz?
That's all I was saying. Like, I wasn't sitting here saying like, dude is trash. Like, get him out of here. I'm just saying like, yo, when was the last time? When was the last time I heard his name? That's all I was saying. And then everybody's like, you didn't watch the Seattle game, and you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I'm like, well,
we're not talking
like
about
it's not even about that. It's about the consistency. I want to consistently see you throwing dudes aside. I'm getting tired of seeing Aaron Donald do things and waiting for Fletcher Cox to do the same things. It's getting to the point where once Hargrave was here, I was like, oh, we're going to see the real Cox and all this. And after 2 games, he did have a decent game last week. I heard his name like 3 times. I think I was actually listening. So.
He flew in there out of nowhere at some point, and I was like, oh, look, there he goes. But now
I was like,
hurt.
oh, he's around. Now he's hurt. His oblique or whatever is wrong.
His oblique.
Oblique.
You talked about the ends, right? And listen, Brandon Graham is who Brandon Graham is, and I'm not going to hold anything against that. But you tried to sell us as a fan base that Derek Barnett was ready, that Josh Sweat was ready, that you didn't go out when there were a lot of these veterans who were getting released, like, oh, I don't know, Everson Griffin. You didn't need that, right? You didn't need these powerful players to come in here and be a member of this team. You had Derek Barnett. I have never in my life seen 3 reverses where your defensive end is so far out of position that the guy with the ball is past him and he still hasn't turned his head to see him running. I don't think the defensive ends and Nate Gary still see Robert Woods as he's running the other way, and it's now Thursday.
I also would like to know if there's any other defensive end that consistently lines up off sides as much as Derek Barnett does.
No,
like
it's time
that's
to
like the
that,
easiest part of his job. Like line up on the correct side of the football.
Like they just ignored these positions that they and look, all right, great, you spent the money on Hargrave, but did you have to? Could that money have gone to another position? Could that money have benefited you somewhere else?
Could it have gotten you a linebacker?
Maybe.
Yeah, one of them. And speaking of linebackers, I know this isn't like the end all be all of linebackers, but you got 34-year-old Clay Matthews like staring you in the face, who had 8 sacks last year, could maybe do something. I don't know. Who knows these days? Right, better than Gary and everybody. And this is the thing. Before the season, I was like, these linebackers are trash. They suck. I don't want to look at them. And everybody was like, oh, Gary had the best PFF and TJ Edwards is the best tackling. What the hell they were telling me? And I'm sitting. Yeah, I don't care about PFF. I don't put no stock into it. The eye test tells me everything. That this group of special teamers is trash.
Yeah, that's what they are. They are glorified special teamers.
Not even glorified. They're just special teamers. That's it.
I just want Jordan Hicks back in an Eagles jersey
so
badly.
I remember those days. LJ Fort. I'll take LJ Fort back.
They gave him a week. They gave him a week and got rid of this guy.
They cut him for a comp pick. He probably screwed up.
Years ago, I was a firm believer that wide receiver Nay Brown had pictures on the front office. I now truly believe Nate Gary has pictures of Howie Roseman or Howie Banner, whatever I want to call him, in a very promiscuous situation. Because it's the only reason why this guy he played 100% of the defensive snaps. Did anyone else not see how badly beaten he was by Tyler Higbee all day? I could
have at least stayed in stride with Tyler Higbee.
That's what I'm saying.
It might not have been better coverage, but I could have stayed with him a little better.
LJ Fort has allowed 9 yards in coverage this season. 9 single digits. This is ridiculous. I can't do it.
You catch our linebackers in coverage, and we are screwed. And
there's no coverage.
The 2 tight ends last week for the Bengals had a field day. They looked really good.
First round pick, Patrick Queen. Right now has 17 combined tackles, a forced fumble, and a sack right now.
That's what I mean.
I can't do it. I can't. Not knocking Jalen Rager by any means, because he looks to be, what he's going to be. But he's out for day to day, which will be the season going into next season. Ben Simmons had 2 season-ending injuries in 1 year. That's how this town goes. Yeah. So who knows how long?
2020.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put it this way. Drew Brees had the same injury, and they told him 6 weeks, and he was only out 5. So I
Vic, Brian cares about you, Victor.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because I'm thinking about these linebackers, and I'm like, the Excedrin's too far away from my desk, and they need to figure this out. I wrote a piece today on the 3 linebackers and a possible trade that the Eagles could and probably won't look into. So it's Clay Matthews, Darren Lee is out there, and you have Hassan Riddick, who we could trade for, Temple homegrown Hassan Riddick, who Arizona doesn't want to use, and the man can carve out a role here. And Howie's just gonna sit here and tell us that TJ Edwards is the man. That Jim Schwartz only needs one linebacker, and we have Will Parks who's coming back, and Kayvon, who has yet to see the field, can line up in the nickel.
Why?
And Nickel Roby Coleman is out here getting burned. Our star-studded new slot corner is getting burned out here. It's almost Cravon time now. And
Nigel Bradham's available.
I'm cool on that. I'm cool on Michael Kendricks too. So I don't need either of those two.
You brought up this name, right? We were told that Roby Coleman is one of the best slot corners in the
No,
world.
he's hot garbage.
He allowed one touchdown last season, just one, on 52 targets.
God, that was
It's the Sixers. You know what? It's the Sixers thing. It's everybody comes here and gets worse. It's what it is. It's the system. It's the whole entire system.
That's a
bro.
problem. Why
Everybody
does
comes
this
here. Darius
happen?
Slay is the only one that seems to be okay for now. But
right. Well, that's right. And
Say
you
that
know,
way.
I want to
knock on
know,
wood, Jesus.
is Kayvon Wallace really that far behind that he can't get on the field and play a little
I
bit?
don't know, man. He's the Mike Scott of the team, bro. Not that good, but everybody loves him.
Like, I mean, it's like, look, I understand that Jalen Mills is a fan favorite around here.
Oh no, he's not. For who?
But we have to stop. Yeah,
oh,
no,
you love Jalen Mills? Okay.
I do. I love me some
Why?
Jalen Mills
For
wide
what
arm
reason?
flex.
All right.
Well, Jalen's been, relatively fine. Jalen has not caused me any issues. As long as I'm not
He's good in the
watching
red
Jalen
zone, but
Mills
he's the
in-
reason
as
people
long as I'm
get in
not
the red
watching
zone.
Jalen Mills in coverage, as long as I'm not watching him in coverage, I'm good.
Chris,
So just don't watch him play
Listen.
football. That's fine.
Listen, let's all be like
Listen,
and believe.
I
something
just
that
wanted
happened
him
to
at safety.
November.
Put him safety was where he needed to
He's
go.
there.
Open
He's there.
field tackling, run stopping. In coverage, you're gonna get toasted up and down the field. But in red zone, love it.
Temple tough, baby. Reddick, and then let Bradley play. We'll just run Temple linebackers out there all day. I will say, I'd rather see our linebackers getting beat with the young guys on the field, if that makes sense. Like the rookies. Like, I don't need to see Nate Gary anymore. He stinks. Like, I know he does. I don't want to see him. There's no reason. If you're going to get burnt, you might as well get these guys some reps out there. I mean, what the hell's the difference?
David Taylor's at least fast. He can at least keep up with the guy. Like
Like,
he might not make the tackle, he might not swat the ball, but he's there.
You can
He's
use
there.
Davion Taylor the way to Coach Yost used Petey and Remember the Titans, which came out 20 years ago today, by the way, or yesterday, by the way, when he said, look, we don't need a game plan. I just want you to get out there and want you to stick 46. Why did you say Davion? Just get out there and stick Tyler Higbee. Don't let him open. He could do it better than Gary did. Why not? Jess, is this why you like him? Brian said, just stare at his green hair and ignores football.
No, I like his attitude.
Yeah, we
I
all
love.
yeah, I like his attitude too.
I love when he would do absolutely nothing, and someone would just drop a ball, and he would get up and flex and finger wag. That would just, it would just bring me so much joy. I don't know
Julio
why.
dropped that ball, and Mills thought he was the wild card hero.
Exactly. It just makes me irrationally happy, and every time he makes a tackle and gets up, the wide arm flex really just gets me. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
As long as it gets I'm glad.
I love I love his attitude, and I think he's finally in an adequate position for what he's actually meant to do. I just think a lot of what Jim Schwartz has done over the last couple of years.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, James good. That's what I'm saying.
I love me some Jalen Mills, and that's not going to change, and none of you are going to change my mind. But simple things
I feel like
think
Rasul Douglas would have been a better safety than Jalen Mills, though.
but that's what I mean. I think Rasul Douglas is going to do fairly well in Carolina. I think he's going to be successful elsewhere. Right, because they're going to put him in the correct position. Why were they forcing Rasul Douglas to be a starting corner when he really, he needs to be a safety? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. But that's how I feel about Jalen Mills, too.
He is out though.
Rasul Douglas led his team in tackles last week. Just for fun.
Hey, I'm not going to take any more breath from Standard. All right, my guy's gone. Leave the man in peace, damn it. He's not here anymore.
Who was that? Kapler?
No, Brown. I hate Brown. I was a Brett
Brown. Also,
fan.
don't the San Francisco Giants have a better record than the Phillies? Shut up. Shut up. Gabe was not the biggest problem here. We're not going to harp on this.
Matt Klentak
can go into the sun with his bullpen. Bye.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The only positives we have going into this week against the Bengals is that Carson somehow didn't get touched. So thankfully,
Yeah.
and that Miles Sanders had that 131 scrimmage yards off of the 20 carries. So at least we know that Miles is the bell cow. They weren't lying about that. They lied to us about everything else. But at least, Miles Sanders 20 carries and Boston Scott 4 carries. So it does look like for the time being, he will be the bell cow. That's the only kind of positives I really have for the fans.
The line looks better as well.
Yeah, but Sam Alu's on IR now, so we'll see.
It's so hard to think of positives right now, right? I mean, there was nothing when you came out of that game outside of Miles Sanders that you said, well, if we could just tweak this and this. No, there were too many damn things to tweak.
Deshaun Jackson had a good stint there. I was hyped for that one drive. Yeah. I was excited.
He caught like 4 or 5 passes on that.
Yeah, I was like, yo.
It was going really well. But, like, here's the deal, right? I understand it's the lowly Cincinnati Bengals. I understand they're not that good. But I also understand that the Eagles are not that good either. So you have to take this into account this week. This is by no means one of those, okay, this is where we get I don't have any faith. How can you right now? How do you have – Jess, this is where your eternal optimism has got to get through to me.
Yeah. I mean, go look at that video again from Colin Cowherd. If Carson Wentz sees that, I swear to all that is holy, he is throwing for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns.
I show it now. Should we just show it now and do it now?
Yes. Do it now.
Yeah, I have yet to see it, so I need to.
Victor has yet to see this. So I'm gonna attempt to share my screen here. Hopefully this works. It's working.
Well, my man knows tech. Okay.
I don't really. I just try.
Tech savvy now.
Let's see.
First of all, you should wear it forward because it protects your eyes. Isn't that why you wear it? But let me just ask you. Let's say twice a year the Eagles ask Carson Wentz to meet with advertisers and suite holders. That's what teams do. I am Carson Wentz. It's nice to meet you, sir. Oh, you run Chevron. It's nice to meet you, sir. You run Geico Insurance. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Carson Wentz. Oh, Bank of America CEO. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you. My name is Carson Wentz. Thank you. Or, hey, so me and the boys had beers last week. The quarterback. What you got here? Bank of America. I've never been to a bank. You tell me there's not a difference between this look as a franchise quarterback and this look. I've seen.
I'll tell you. There's not.
First of all,
I have to pause him now because he's not going to shut up.
Please make his voice stop.
I tell you, there is not a difference between a franchise quarterback wearing his hat forward or backward. I think that is the most ridiculous thing of all time. Victor, since this is your first viewing, I have to get your opinion, your initial knee-jerk opinion to that video.
I mean, that's the media today, right? So I mean, like all of the obnoxious outfits we've seen between Cam Newton and Russell Westbrook and all these other guys, and this man wears his hat backwards, and he happens to be from North Dakota, and apparently now he just doesn't have any home training is the consensus. I don't understand how this is happening. Like, I understand Carson Wentz hasn't been great in 2 weeks, and now the reports are coming out that he doesn't listen to coaches and he thinks he's full of himself and he's going rogue and what have you. But everybody knows at least the man that Carson Wentz is and what he does for the people and his beliefs. And at least we do locally. I don't know what the national, general idea is around him, but we know at least that the man, believes in the right things. And I'm sure he knows how to hold himself in a meeting. So that just seems to be a reach, in my opinion. It seems to be like they're just going to try and slander Wentz in any way they can. So once the football thing is kind of getting old, now let's go after his appearance. It just seems like a reach to get the people talking, and we're talking about it. So mission accomplished, I assume.
That guy has no brain. Like, how are you such a dumbass and have a show on ESPN? Like, I have a whole brain, and I'm sitting here, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're smarter than that.
Yeah, we're not on ESPN.
Something better than that.
Well, that's why we're not on ESPN, because it's not
because we're rational people.
We're rational people.
Christmas.
We don't say stupid things like Marcus Spears says and all these other morons who just throw these stupid things out there and hope that they stick. But that to me is such an ignorant comment on so many levels. Like Carson Wentz is the first franchise quarterback to ever wear his hat backwards. Like, I'm sure when Carson Wentz is meeting the big wigs of these companies, that they're worried about Carson Wentz and what way he's wearing his hat. Like, you got to get off of this, man. You got to get off of this. And that's the thing with Colin Cowherd is he pisses me off because he's never, like Chris is saying, he's got to be consistent. But it's like he attacks the fans, but normally he loves Carson. What are you doing? Are you mad because he hasn't played well and you've looked bad? Like, I don't understand why else you would make these stupid ass comments.
Like, imagine attacking one of like the most genuine and best kinds of human beings in sports. Like, he is one of the best types of human in professional sports. And like, if you're going to sit here and try to attack him and his appearance, like, I feel sorry for you that you have nothing better to do with your time.
And it's the fact that there's so many other things you could talk about. Like talk about the, well, I'm sure they have to this point, but talk about like the 4.6 yards per play that they're averaging, coinciding with the Jets. Talk about the 6 turnovers that the Eagles offense has committed, 4 of them from Carson, well, 5 counting the fumble and Miles' fumble. Like, there's so many things like football related that you could talk about the things that Carson Wentz does. But it's the end of the week now. What is it? Thursday, Friday? Yeah, running out of content. So I guess this is where we are now.
It's like a Thursday post-practice presser. Sorry, he put a hat on real quick. Like, Jesus.
Right. Well, and it's not even like in person. It's a Zoom meeting. Like, who cares?
Right. Zoom.
Yeah, it's exactly. The one thing you guys are saying, like, no one's talking about the Eagles turnovers. How about the fact that their defense has been the total opposite of opportunistic? They have forced nothing. I mean, nothing. Like, forget about set. They haven't got, I don't know if they've deflected a damn pass. Like, it's like they have got to force some turnovers. The only turnover against the Rams, I believe, was the punt fumble, right?
Cooper Kupp's fumble, yeah.
Cooper Kupp's fumble, yeah. So, that's a problem. Defenses don't win unless they cause some turnovers and they're opportunistic, right? That's what we always hear about Schwartz. He's opportunistic. I don't see any of that.
Where did you hear that? Let me know.
2017.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it. Yeah. That's when.
Maybe when Chip was here and they had a good special team. So, that was about the last time anybody was opportunistic around.
I just don't get it. I don't understand it. But it is Thursday. There is a game in 3 days. It's as much of a must-win as this team has probably faced this early in the season in the Doug Peterson era. I mean, I think it's safe to say this is the earliest must-win he's had as a head football coach here.
I mean, he's never started 0-2, so yeah.
Yeah. Yep. This is also true. Now, a lot of people, and I'm curious about your guys' takes on this. A lot of people are saying, hey, yes, the numbers aren't great. The percentages of teams that go 0-2 and make the playoffs aren't great. A lot of teams are talking about year 5 of Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, which was the 2003 year where they started 0-2, and then they ended up, I think, rambling off 10 or 11 straight wins or whatever it was. They won the East, and it ended up being a pretty good year. They are saying that when we look at Carson and we look at year 5, are we acting a little over the top about what's happened in these first 2 weeks? Or are we okay? Is it okay to be very, very concerned about him?
Ooh, I feel like it's like both kind of, because after the way last season ended and knowing how nobody in this division should be scary. The Cowboys they can have every offensive weapon on this planet, and we know what happens in December. I think the Eagles have as good of a chance as anybody to still make the postseason. Factor in their 7 teams now, and factor in the division is garbage. I think that as long as you have Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, you can be successful, but they have to understand that they have to rectify these issues. I know that the year isn't ideal, and I know that Doug, whatever Doug is saying, that he didn't get the snaps. It's probably realistic to think that Carson didn't get much coaching until August, but he should be used to that since he's been rehabbing every offseason in his career. But it's when you compare the two, I just feel like he can pick it up. I don't think it's like doom. I don't think it's doom and gloom yet. We'll see how this Bengals game look. It's not like Carson was trashed the entire games, but like the first half of the Washington game was amazing. And we saw drives where Carson was putting it all together until that pick that let it be known that Arcega-Whiteside didn't help him much, but that's neither here nor there. Like if that's Alshon in there, maybe he makes more of an effort, like Jess said earlier. Hightower and Rager didn't help him a whole lot on their picks either. Of course, it could have been placed better, but you need to try and help your quarterback out there. I'm not making excuses for Carson Wentz by any means. He does need to be better. He needs to clean up his mechanics. He needs to do a lot of things, but he knows how to be a decent quarterback. It's not like we've never seen him be great and we're sitting here wondering, like, what talent does he have? This performance isn't a product of his talent. It's a product of lack of coaching, and it's a product of probably hard-headedness. It could be a product of Jalen Hurts over his shoulder. But as the leader of that team, you can't just mentally, and I doubt he is, but you can't mentally collapse because Jalen Hurts is there. I know that he's, mentally strong enough to get through whatever this block is, but you just have to think that quarterbacks and players, like, how many finished products do you remember seeing? How many quarterbacks do you remember seeing in year 5? And they're just a finished product and they're doing everything correctly? Probably not. We would like to see them less frequent, but it's 2 games into a season that had no preseason. Like, what kind of expectations should we really have? We should see the real Carson Wentz within the coming weeks. That's me being optimistic, though, because if he continues this, I don't want to think about what the next steps would be. But I do think that Carson Wentz is still the long-term solution here for this team.
Jess,
I agree. I think
that was a tangent, but
that's all right. That's good.
no, I love it. I think that I would be concerned if he was the only problem. There are so many issues that I don't know why I would waste my time being solely concerned about Carson Wentz when there are so many other giant glaring holes in this team and huge problems. I mean, like, we can start with the fact that the offense isn't designed to cater to Carson Wentz's strengths. Like, the offense is designed to try to make him something that he is not. Like, and again, like you were just saying, are you going to be a finished product in year 5? No, there's going to still be things to work on, but don't eliminate the things that are done well just to focus on the things that need to be worked on. Like, there's no reason why they're not running more play action and they don't have more movement going to get Carson out of the pocket, and they're not rolling him out different ways. Like, there's no reason to force him to stand in the pocket, especially when they did it in week 1, when you had a guy who, I mean, Lane Johnson was the right tackle in installs all week. And then then 2 hours before the game, it was like, oh, sorry, he's not playing. Let's go with Jack Driscoll. And not to mention, Matt Pryor also, when they put Jason Peters back at left tackle, they moved Matt Pryor back over to right guard. And then all of a sudden it was Nate Herbig, who had played 3 snaps of NFL football before that. Like, I mean, I don't understand what issue they were trying to force there, especially against Washington's defensive line. I don't understand what they were trying to prove. And I just don't think that it's time to try to prove things. It's just time to win football games. And they need to stop, like, trying to outsmart themselves.
Yeah.
And they need to design a game plan that it's designed around their quarterback. I mean, if you look at exactly what the freaking Rams did the whole time, is Jared Goff any better of a quarterback than Carson Wentz? Absolutely
he's not nimble. He's not nimble by any means. So.
Right. But what is their offense? It's specifically designed to do exactly what Jared Goff is good at. And they don't touch what he's not good at. They dropped him straight back 3 times. He took a sack, threw the ball away, and then had to throw it into the ground. And when he threw the ball away, it was his first incompletion of the game. Like, they made Jared Goff uncomfortable, and he couldn't do anything. So I don't understand why Doug keeps letting that happen to Carson. And then when we get to press conferences, everything is Carson's fault. Like, I don't want to make excuses for Carson because he has not helped himself. No. He has made terrible decisions. He's going through his read progressions like a high school quarterback. Like, I've watched kids in high school read defenses and go through their progressions better than I've seen Carson do these last 2 weeks. And he's missed wide open throws, but nothing around him is helping him either. So, like, he's failing at the things he can control, and everything that's out of his control is so far beyond what it should be that the offense is an absolute, it's a shit show.
Yeah, it's just nobody's doing anybody any favors is the problem. Like, Doug's not helping Carson.
Right.
Carson's not helping Doug. Like, this man led the league in QBR outside the pocket last season. You would think that Doug, as a quarterback playing the sport himself, he would know how to utilize this man as his strengths.
Seriously.
You have to, like you mentioned, like Jared Goff leaving the pocket all day, and he's not even athletic. He's not
Right.
mobile. He's not anything. The dude,
He has 2 left feet.
literally 2 left feet. The man is in shambles every time he runs the ball. But they have a guy you can get the ball out quickly to in Cooper Kupp, and you have a gadget guy in Robert Woods you can throw to. I thought we had a slot guy in Greg Ward. Everybody told me all offseason we got the slot guy to future, and we have Jalen Reagor. You can literally run these end arounds to, and he's dynamite with the ball in his hands. And
Where are they? Where are the end arounds?
It's who knows. Doug is sitting here still trying to use the stinking dunk 12 personnel. We have Ertz and Goddard. Forget everything else. I understand the great tight ends we have, and we're playing 12 personnel more than 30% than the next team. And it's all just a frustrating, stagnant. You don't have to inch your way down the field anymore. Like, he's still so stuck in that. And it's like watching 89 power forwards on the Sixers all standing in the post staring at each other. It's just as frustrating. Like, they have to figure it out. Like you have Deshaun. Well, Rager's not there anymore. You have Deshaun. Hightower has speed. If Quez Watkins comes back from IR, I don't even know how he got hurt. But they have to. We all did. But we have to. I don't even see, like, they didn't even routinely take shots downfield. Like, you have to at least make the defense respect the fact that you're going to throw it downfield. You already established the run game. So if the next step is to take that occasional shot downfield, and Doug is refusing to do that. I don't know if he just doesn't want Carson to get hurt. I don't think it's Carson, because he obviously wants to win, but the frustration, the stubbornness, it all has to end between Howie and between Doug. Like, Howie needs to stop being stubborn with the whole front office, but that's a conversation for another time. But Doug is just frustrating with the whole play calling, and Carson Wentz, and you can't not cater to the man. And then, like Jess said, go in the press conference and be like, "Oh, it's all his fault." Like, that's not how it works. And eventually, Carson's just going to stop listening and be like, "Well, forget it. I'm an audible every single play, and then I'm gonna just do what I want."
It's what James here is saying. This offense is so vanilla. It's lacking so much identity right now, and this is now we're here. Now we're where we are, and I don't understand. His excuse after week 1 of the rollouts was, well, we didn't do great on first down. So
you can't dial it up on first down.
So you can't roll out on 2nd and 7? What the hell does that even mean?
Nope, too much. Can't.
I mean, it's like, when Carson is at his best. And I think it is. I think part of it is Doug trying to make Carson that pocket passer. Very much like his protege tried to make Donovan McNabb a pocket passer. Now, Andy's learned. Right? Look at what Andy does now with Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Pat, go do what you do, kid.
Well, he even learned when he had Michael Vick. Like, when he had Vick, he wasn't trying to make him up. I mean, granted, Vick was a better passer at that point in time, but still.
Yeah, good point. So my hope is that Doug is watching this. And, someone brought this up to me this week, and I don't know, it's the only thing that's making me not totally give up all hope. Without the preseason, are they treating our teams, some teams, not all teams, but are teams treating these first couple weeks as a trial and error couple weeks and then hit the ground running like, these were their preseason weeks? I think it's a terrible game plan. I'm just putting that out there. But is it possible? Is it possible that he thought the Washington game first off was like, okay, it's the Washington football team. We got 7 people out. Let's just try some things and see what happens. They went up 17-0. They took the foot off the gas. This week they said, all right, let's see, what we do against a little bit better team. And they were moving the ball here and there. Then they started to come back. And are they looking at this and going, hey, we're 1 or 2 plays of a difference from being 2-0, which I don't like that mentality. But are they looking at this like a preseason? Like, I don't know what else makes sense right now.
That would be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Really, it would be. It really would
the
be.
rest of their schedule. Because they play after this week. Okay, so say they're treating like the first 3 like preseason, right? Okay, let's go play the 49ers on Sunday Night Football and then go to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers, then play the Ravens, who, by the way, have the reigning MVP. And then let's start the division, play the Giants, then play the on Thursday night, by the way, short week. Then go play the Cowboys, then play the Giants again. And then let's real quick play the Browns and then play the Seahawks, Packers, Saints. Travel out to Arizona and play the Cardinals, and then play the Cowboys again, and then the Washington football team.
Why did they stop doing this in a game 2, by the way? Every time they go up tempo, they keep teams off kilter. And then they just go away from it. Like, they were doing it against the Rams on one drive, and then just stopped and started going back to the huddle. And they ended up punting the ball. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, why? What? Stop being so damn vanilla with your offense, man. Like, do something different.
I think they try to outsmart themselves, honestly. I think Doug tries to make an adjustment before the opposing team can adjust. Like, he doesn't make reactionary adjustments. He makes preemptive adjustments.
Yeah. Victor, you're talking about Miles Sanders, right? And on that one drive that leads to the interception, Miles Sanders was killing it on the ground. On first down, and look, he's got to make a better pass. I'm not saying he doesn't. But why are you calling the long bomb, that pass there? You're moving down the field. Why are you doing that right then? It just doesn't – it seems like you said, it's that I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm outthinking myself.
I actually think that the play call was right because Arcega-Whiteside was like the third or fourth option on that play.
Right.
I think the first couple options was I think Ertz was over the middle, and then another receiver was everybody was running like cross routes, and Arcega-White, it was basically two cross routes, and then Miles in the flat was the third option, and then Arcega-Whiteside, God forbid if everything else is fine, just launch it to him. And Carson looked at him first for whatever reason. He saw that man. He threw it late. He threw it towards the guy. Even if they don't pick it off, Arcega-Whiteside gets blown up anyway because Carson leaves his guys hang out to dry and on a lot of situations. I just think that I don't know how he's going to fix this. Like, I think Doug, you're onto something with the whole preseason thing because they had the vanilla game plan in week 1, and there's a reason they didn't dress Miles. Like, I'm sure he could have played if he wanted to, but he was like, "Oh, it's Dwayne Haskins. We don't need him," and they shouldn't have needed him to be the guy who didn't put up even 200 yards in the game.
Right.
But in situations like that, I think the play calling wasn't abysmal on Sunday. Like, it wasn't terrible. Wentz, like I keep saying, Wentz didn't do him a lot of favors. He was looking at the wrong guy at the wrong time. And in situations that didn't call for it, Doug didn't help out Carson Wentz. Everybody has to get on the same page. I don't think it's like everybody's screaming about rebuild and all this. And I don't know what I missed this week that warrants a rebuild. I understand we're older and things like that, but I don't think we got to, just cut it all down and just start over. I think it's just miscommunication. Everybody needs to, at some point, get on the same page. You have Miles. When Rager comes back, Carson Wentz finally has running mates is the thing here. He has Miles Sanders and he has Jalen Rager, who hopefully he can grow with and excel with. And I just feel like Doug, it all starts with Doug and Carson. They as long as those two are on the same page, we will always have a chance to win, regardless of the rest of the roster. It could be better, but, we can't cry about it. We saw what Carson did with nobody on that offense. So, I'm inclined to believe he can carry anybody into the postseason, but he has to be better, and it better start against Joe Burrow, or I don't want to be around for the result.
Well, listen,
I can't do another week where the Eagles keep me up at night. Like, I don't sleep.
I just want to talk about a win. We all do podcasts here. We all just want to get on the show and just talk about a win. Like, I'm with Rob because on Sunday, man, I was like, "Yo, this pod is about to be somber as hell." Like, I didn't even do a show yet. Like, it's because everybody just wants to come out here and scream that we won and we did something, and it's another week without a win is. I'm glad I'm not as deep into the Phillies as you guys are because I would be drinking a lot more than I should have. So.
The other night,
Really?
so that's the best part. So Tuesday night, we did our recap and preview pod, and I'm on here. And as we're wrapping up, I got the Phillies on, and the Phillies take the lead in the top of the 7th or the top of the 8th. There was an extra inning, and I threw my fist in the air. The show ends within 20 minutes of the show ending, and us basically talking about how much Philly sports sucks. Workman gives up a 2-run home run in the bottom of that inning, and they lose. And I'm just like, I can't do it. I literally
that bullpen is in shambles.
Yeah, I can't. Listen, Chris asked, is Doug an elite coach? We all know my stance on this. The answer is hell no. I do not believe he's an elite coach. I believe he's a terrible in-game adjuster. I believe he needs.
We're talking about Doug. We're talking about Doug here.
Yeah,
he's definitely top. He's top 5 win.
Had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, because I was like, let me, because I'm gonna be on record with that. I don't want people, I don't need to be on. I don't need to be on the internet, but. Like, I think Doug is top 5 coach in this league. When dialed in, and he's the Doug we know, he's top 5. But the issue is that even with fourth down conversion rates, like if you look at 2017, fourth down conversion rate was like 80%. 2018, fourth down conversion rate 66%. Last season, 33%. Like, even the play calling is taking a decline. The man isn't as aggressive anymore. But now we're just gonna start going for 2 in situations that don't demand it. So it's as long as I don't see.
James said it, not me. James said it,
yeah, man, it's not the.
I mean, like you
said, the worst concept in the world.
It's regressed right every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Oh, Mike Groh is the reason for last year. I'm so glad he's gone.
Okay, fair enough.
She can't use the yards after catch leader in Golden Tate.
I couldn't remember his name the other day. I straight up was trying to talk about. We were talking. I think it was on the Babes on Broad pregame show, and I straight up could not remember Mike Groh's name, and I was like, "Oh my god, I really put him so far out of my mentals that I can't remember what his name is." Yeah, someone else had to tell me. I could not remember. I couldn't remember.
That's the other thing. Like, I don't think Carson Wentz liked him, and I think Doug loved him. That's one of my issues with Doug. Like, what did you love about this guy? This guy got fired by his own father. His own father fired him from a job. Like, if you're getting fired by your father, Jess, you work for your dad. If your dad came in and said, Jess, you're out, what does that say about your work ethic?
Do you know how awful I would have to be at my job and how much of like just a deadbeat worker I would have to be? Yeah.
Yes, this is for you from DC 8950.
Fire the damn bullpen into the sun. I hate them all.
14. We counted 14.
So
14 times.
I know. I really want to know. And
we counted.
There were like 3 people that came back to me really quick. Vic was one of them, and then Chris was another. There was like 14. I counted, and I was like, damn, I didn't expect people to actually really help me with that.
It was once it got to be past 10, I was like, yo, she got a problem.
That's how many times it's happened.
I read that from Jess, and I'm like, there ain't no damn way.
It's like me and the damn bleach on Twitter. That's what it is.
Yeah. I love your bleach tweets because they're right. They're right on time. Very accurate.
Oh god, it literally is like, bro. Like, I should have a glass here. Like, at some point, like, it's so bad.
Need to happen in October/November. Fire the bullpen. I cannot believe that we're at the point where we have to say hire Ty Lue just so we don't hire Mike.
You ready for D'Antoni high octane? Let's do it. Joe Embiid winded by second quarter.
Today, Jess, you would be the most livid person ever if the report that John Clark put out there today held any merit.
Oh my God. I can't say out loud. I sent it to Joe and Rob, and I can't repeat on this podcast my words that I said. I'll tell you when
we're not Harden fans here. Is that what's going on?
No, I'll tell you guys after we go off the air what I said, because I can't say that out loud. My parents are watching
you ready
right now.
Chris,
I can't. Yes, let's do it.
Oh, it's definitely at least like 30. Like, yeah.
You go through all of the sports with that. So
it's so bad.
Specific to the Phillies.
It is so bad. I wanted to use the Rocket video for the finally. I wanted to use that when the Eagles won and they still didn't win. So
we'll get there eventually, maybe one day.
Let's get to regular to come back in 2 weeks instead of 6. That's one way.
Let's go.
DC 8950 says you got to find the bleach flavor soon, Vic. You've been looking for a while, man.
It's been a minute, man. I've been experimenting a lot, and it's. I haven't found one I like.
Oh, what is the best flavor?
This one, Jess.
Oh.
I haven't seen him whining
because Darius Slay's.
I haven't seen him whining and crying on the field for calls. Anybody else? Have you seen them whining and crying after every play? Whining and crying after every play?
Kyle Lowry, do you think? Is he worse than Kyle Lowry?
But see, that's the thing. That's why I don't like Kyle Lowry for that same reason. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I can't stand that, and because I think that there are parts of his game that are great, and I think obviously there's a lot about Jason Tatum's game that's great, but I don't have respect for you when you talk to a reporter and go, I don't get the calls that LeBron gets. Well, you're not LeBron, my friend. Right? Like, I don't get the superstar calls. Okay.
Yeah, that's why Michael Gallup didn't get the call against Jalen Ramsey, because you ain't a superstar. Not now.
Thank you.
It comes with merit.
Before we end the show, we all got to make our predictions. We will start with our special.
We have to do we really have to do this?
Victor.
Yes.
The Eagles. No, you're going to pick win, Jess. We know it's going to be 105, right?
No. There were actually a bunch of people that were responding to the Babes live show on Sunday. There was one score, I think it was like 156-3, and I was like, "Who is doing this right now?" 20 bleach tweets. Let's go.
Chris is already.
That's it. Yo, I'm proud of myself. I'm getting better.
All right, so Jess has got to win. Victor, how about you, my man? What do you think?
Are we doing scores or just if we're gonna win or not? Like, I'll say we win. This is what I'll say. I'll say Carson wins those 3 touchdowns. But then we'll get it was only the Bengals thing, so I'll predict that for the media, so they'll have the ball with that. And I say we'll do 28-13 13 because I'll be damned if Joe Burrow scores on us more than one time.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you that I said this on Tuesday. I say it
Who's
again.
even playing on offense? Is AJ Green like healthy this year?
Yeah, so far.
Mhm.
Yes.
Tyler Boyd, 2 tight ends.
Is a damn beast. So I can't
And Eifert, is Eifert still there? No.
he got hurt, I think.
No.
I don't
His
even
back been out. His back is bad as
know.
Rumble.
But here's my issue. I don't feel like I want to give the Eagles the pleasure of having me pick them to win yet. They need to prove to me that they are not going to play like a bunch of little whiny babies and go out there and do what they're supposed to do, play fired up, show some pride, and then I'll pick them. So
ugly win. Nothing wrong with that.
no, but I just feel like I got to keep picking against them till they win at this point, just because that's what I said. So I want to be wrong. I'm going to root to be wrong, but I can't pick them because I don't want them to have the satisfaction of my pick, even though not one of them know who the hell I am. But that is totally.
They don't care about you.
It's totally beside the point, Jess. Victor, thank you, man, for coming on. Why don't you plug everything you're doing because you're busy as hell, man.
Oh God, we don't have enough time. This is the thing. Before we get into that story, I remember when I first started covering the whole sports scene, and this is when I started following Jess like some time ago. This is when like JT Media was like the only thing going on, like if that's even still a thing. This is before Babes and Marty and all that stuff was going on. So
yeah.
and I had like followed her, and I was like, damn, yo, if I can get to where she's at, I must be doing something right. So now I like to think I'm on that trajectory. So you can
I'm so honored.
Yeah, it's a long one. So you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at the Philly Pod. You can search the Philly Pod on all the same places you listen to this show on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube. It's the script that I've ingrained into my mind at this point. You can follow all of our content over at Liberty Line PHL, for libertyline.com. Got a great group of guys over there, content, articles, podcasts, all that stuff. You can catch me on the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace every Friday and Monday, previewing and reacting, sadly, to the Eagles on Fox PHL Gambler, 102 FM on iHeartRadio. And as always, guys, thank you guys for the support and everything you guys do. There wouldn't be a Philly Pod or a Madness or anything else that's going on without the fans. So I appreciate all the subscribers. And if we have mutual listeners, appreciate all you guys. Keep it up.
Absolutely. And as Victor said, we appreciate all you guys for tuning in every week. Make sure you catch Jess's pregame show on Sunday. Jess, you got another Babes this week or what?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's martinis on deck. Whatever the recipe is this week.
Sean's making sangria this week.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Where do we make these things at? Where are we making these things at? Like, where does this happen?
In her driveway.
In her driveway.
It's my parents' driveway.
Oh, no, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't need to be.
We hang out in my parents' driveway. They live in a farmhouse in like the middle of a neighborhood, so it's a long driveway. You can't see it from the street. So we set up some tents, and my dad has it nicely set up. So we have Sam and I have our little show tent, and then all the tables socially distanced, of course, hand sanitizer on everything. All the food is like individually placed, so you don't have to. We're not all touching the same serving spoons. It's all very well thought out. But
good to know because we were all concerned. We were all concerned.
Yeah. I know.
They were all
everyone know.
With Giovanni this week, right?
I was going to say, you're going to have the greatest pregame guest of all time this week, are you not?
Yep. So we were on with Giovanni earlier this week on Philly Sports with Giovanni with Eagles Brawl, and then Giovanni is coming on with us on Sunday to get us, to get us pumped up because he is the most positive. You think I'm positive? This kid takes the cake, and it makes me feel so much better.
Jess and I want to bring Giovanni on here, but we're waiting till after an Eagles win because there's no reason to have the most optimistic and happy
season
than there is.
All right.
This show to win. So that's the goal. We got to get a win, and then we get Giovanni. I think that's the way we look at it. So maybe the pregame show starts it all off for everybody. But so listen, you can catch me at the Madness. Make sure you catch me on Party on Broad on Tuesdays. The postgame show on Sundays if they win, and if I'm sober, I'll be on the postgame.
I won't be. Don't look at me at all.
So,
bleached out, literally.
Make sure you're tuning in to every one of us. We thank you guys so much for the support. The Madness will be back next week, hopefully to celebrate a win. Victor, thank you again, man. We'll talk to you soon. And as always, everybody, embrace the madness.